Hi, thanks for talking to me. Appreciate it and enjoyed the first three episodes that we've seen. So tell me, what was it for all three of you? What was it that surprised you the most that wasn't the way you expected it to be when you got there? Because obviously you had some idea of what it was going to be like, but probably not completely.
Yeah, I mean, the reality set in pretty quickly. You think you have an idea of the 1880s, and maybe you have like this fantasy land of Little House on the Prairie. And that was very quickly like slashed. We really had to survive. And it was like, here's where you're gonna live. This is what you have to eat. And it wasn't what we expected, and it was so much less than what we're accustomed to.
Was there something specifically though that, like I said, that you were surprised that wasn't like what specifically was different, or was it just everything was different? Maybe it sounds like from what you're saying.
Yeah, it was all a surprise. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what we would have, what we didn't have. And then on top of that, you're being filmed, you know? What's your reaction to everything? You're learning, you're taking everything on for the first time, and the world was watching at the same time. So
That's
that
fair.
was challenging.
What was the modern convenience you guys missed the most?
Running water,
Probably running water.
hot running water,
Yeah, I think so.
just at the touch of a button, flip of a switch, that's what that was hardest to get over.
Right, that's
We,
fair.
we had to start a fire. We had to heat up the stove and then like heat up the water. So it was a process.
There's a lot to do to get to that point, I guess. I was gonna
And
Absolutely.
to shower, we were using the garden, the garden thing to shower. So it's like, it would be so easy to just turn on the water and have hot water and take a nice shower, but it was just like cold and hard. to-
say, especially for you, what was it like dealing without cell phones and everything? Because I know I couldn't go without mine for very long, I don't think.
Yeah, at first the idea of like leaving my cell phone, especially in my generation, kind of life revolves around that cell phone. So it was really just hard adjusting to that. And it's almost like that sense of, am I gonna miss out? What is everyone posting? What's everyone doing? What's going on in the world? But it was also super refreshing to take a step back from all the noise that's going on in society and just live a more simple life and really immerse myself into the experience.
What did you each, I guess, learn that you now maybe take into, and that's sort of like what you were saying, but just that you learned there that maybe you use now or that you've changed in your life now?
Well, food, we look at food a lot differently now. You know, we appreciate it. We don't waste it as much. You know, out there, you are very limited. So we look at it and how we eat and why we eat differently. And like for one is preserving food, making it last, you know. You can go into the store and buy food that they put all these preservatives in. We had to learn how to do that ourselves. And it's a totally different process than what we're doing today. So that was a learning curve, and we're still implementing what we learned in our everyday life today.
All right.
One thing I learned is that people are resilient, and no matter where you take them, you can put somebody there, and as long as they have the will, they will make it happen. So, as a family, we didn't know we have little kids, and they were like, well, little kids worked in the 1880s, and my kids were resilient and they learned and they helped, and we all created this beautiful team that worked together. And it showed me, like, wow, we can really do this. If you want to, you can do anything.
Do you think, other than being able to work together, how else has the relationship between all of you, your whole family, changed since being on the show?
Well, we're more connected with each other now. Out there, there's no distractions. So you pick up on tensions and emotions a lot more. So it taught us how to read each other better. And now I think in our everyday lives, it's easier to read each other and connect. That's one thing we took away from it.
All right. Guys, have anything to add?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think the same thing as Jeremy. We just really connected. We were able to sit down and have dinners and talk about our days. Sometimes we took that for granted. And we really just wanted to know exactly how everybody feels, what everybody's doing, what their goals are. We created goals for the future. We envision our life, you know, doing this like we were doing then. And yeah, it was very, very nice.
Now, if you knew exactly what it was going to be like, now that you know, would you still have done it knowing all that?
Yeah, we would have had a different mindset, but absolutely, we went in this to learn something and to take something away from it. So we would do it all over again if we had a chance.
Yeah, we saw it almost like we signed up for this marathon and we went with the mentality, okay, we're gonna get there and we're gonna power through it, no matter how hard it is. You don't sign up to a marathon and get there and you're crying about it. We were like, okay, we're gonna do this. And yeah, we powered through it. It was hard. It was very hard, but
We
we
make the
managed
best
to
of it.
do it. Yeah.
Do you agree you would have still done it if it was up to you? I mean, it may not have been up to you particularly because your parents probably decided, but would you still have wanted to do it?
Absolutely. I really enjoyed the experience.
All right. Did you guys do anything at all before you went on to, I guess, prepare? Because obviously, I know you got had to learn a lot when you got there, but was there anything like you looked up how to do or tried to do to maybe help you when you got there?
No, we didn't know what to expect. We really didn't know what to expect and what can you do to prepare yourself for that. And they told us not to as well. Like they didn't want us to, we wanted a pure organic experience. So, like I said, you didn't know what to look into and how to prepare for that. It's not like anything out there, you know?
All right. Other than not having running water, what did you guys find the hardest to actually achieve? Like that you had to physically, because that isn't really a physical thing, but that you had to figure out how to do.
Well, cleanliness, hygiene is a big thing, like it's so easy today to jump in a shower and brush your teeth and out there it's not that easy. It's not that easy. We only had two pair of clothes. Uh we were living in a lot of dirt and dust. So that's not easy to get used to. And cleaning your clothes is a big, long process. Um,
And somehow every time that we did laundry and we set it out to dry, it would rain. So it was like just a curse of the laundry day. But we also had to learn how to prepare because every task is not quick and easy like it is now. You really have to prepare and you have to think about dinner while you're eating breakfast. And you have to think of what your whole day until the sun goes down is going to be because there are chores that you have to do. And if you don't do those, there's going to be consequences.
Did you ever worry about like, I don't know, to me, I would be worried about like things getting into your house and that, like critters and bugs and all that. Did that affect you at all, or is
absolutely.
that not something that bothered you?
Absolutely. You had to be conscious of all that. You couldn't leave food out, even our outhouse, we had to take care of that because we could attract bears. And then same thing with food. We had bugs, we had mice, we had all kinds of things. So that was part of the learning curve too. How do you get your food? How do you prepare it? How do you throw away your garbage? How do you protect, we can't draw all these critters to our house because what eats the bugs, what eats the mice, everything eats itself. So just drawing insects creates bigger problems.
That's fair. Let me ask you specifically, Jeremy, did you, I guess, regret at the beginning maybe not accepting help? Because obviously that kind of caused a chain of events that didn't go so well for you guys at the auction. So I don't know. What do you feel about that now, looking back about it?
But in the beginning, I didn't really need the help, and I had so much on my plate to help someone else. I had my problems too, and that's kind of what it was like in the beginning. We had our so much to worry about. I got there and I didn't have beds for my whole family. My three kids are sharing one small bed.
I get that.
But that's also kind of how we work. We don't really ask for help. Like, if you wanted help, I was there ready to help. But in the 1880s, they were like, no, women can't do that. Don't grab the hammer, you know? And I was like, well, I can still do it. I'm going to rebel one day. But at the same time, it was like we didn't want the help. And I know that caused a chain reaction. And honestly, we were kind of blindsided by that because it wasn't because, oh, we don't want your help. It was like, no, we
Right.
think we have it handled. We'll ask for help when we really, really need it. And
Yeah,
at the time, we didn't feel like we needed it.
exactly. And if that's, I don't know why that would cause a problem if not needing someone's help, but whatever.
No, yeah, I didn't expect it to kind of go down like it did. Let me ask you guys, I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but I kind of wonder, you got all these animals, and it's kind of implied that some of them are going to be used for not just milk and eggs and that. Did that become an issue, especially with I know like your younger brother and everything, like did they yeah, how did you guys deal with that? Was that a problem? Because I know for me, I couldn't have dealt with it
I
personally.
mean, we now in society take animals and we treat them as pets, and we, like pet them. And if you have a dog, it sleeps with you and you dress it up, right? It's a totally different mentality than back then. And we named all our chickens, we named our cow, we named our goats, and they became part of our family. So when it came down to make those decisions, it was very hard. And we're still dealing with those emotions even today.
But it's also something to think about. For instance, if you have chickens, they're giving us eggs, or they could be a one good meal. So that's something you have to think about. Do we want to eat good tonight, or do we want to wait and collect the eggs for every day that comes,
Yeah.
Things
Yeah,
like
no,
that you have to think about.
I get that. You mentioned the cameras before. Did you get used to being watched all the time, or is that something you still thought about? Because I would think maybe I don't know, maybe after a while you kind of forgot about it.
Absolutely. You get used to it. You completely get used to it and you forget that they're there, but at the same time, they are there. Like you're trying to, there's no privacy. Once we got there, there was no privacy. We were all sharing a one bedroom cabin, basically, a one room. So the privacy is gone with amongst each other. At the same time, you have a film crew there. So that was challenging, very challenging. We learned things and had to take on responsibilities while the cameras were rolling. We didn't have time to figure it out and then say, okay, we're ready. Let's do it now. No, it was like, you're on. And we did forget about them a lot.
And also, like, yeah, during interviews, they're asking us how hard is it and trying to dig all these emotions, right? Because they're living it with us. They're there
Oh,
too. And they can probably see from the outside looking in all the struggles, and they're digging that up. And we're trying, I feel like you're trying to hide it or you're trying to cover it up. And at some point, all these emotions come out, and you get used to then being like very true and honest and realistic, and you start just going through the motions and going through the experience, and then being really honest in your interviews and stuff, and just really explaining to everybody what you're really feeling and what you're doing out there.
fair. The only other question I have is Mia, did you ever take your bed for granted after this, not
Oh,
having your
absolutely.
place?
Absolutely, especially on the first day when I had to share a bed with my two other siblings. I was like, oh my gosh, I miss my queen size bed at home. But yeah, so for sure.
All right, fair enough. Well, thank you, all three of you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I enjoyed the first three. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it and what happens. So thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank you.
rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.